Hello, scrappers. Yeah, it's been a while, and I'm kind of sorry about that. Stuff and things happen. Anyway, today we're not going to do anything really fancy. We're just going to do a good old-fashioned scrap out. I'll try to keep the highlights and the details. We'll see how the video goes. I'm going to show you in a second here what I'm looking to scrap. So, I've got a breast pump that was given to me by a colleague that this is no longer required. I have this box, which is kind of brand new, but it did not. There were a bunch of components missing, which actually make this thing worthless. It actually costs more to try to get the replacement parts than to buy a new one. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. And it got a couple of these microphone deals and just an AC adapter. Like, we're not talking anything too special. The phone here, we're going to get the battery out of that. Of course, you know, safe disposal of batteries and all that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, it's been a little while, so, and I have done a little bit of scrapping lately, but not a whole lot. So you're just going to have to kind of be a little bit patient with me while I relearn the ropes, but we'll do it together, okay? All right. All right, let's, there, how's that? Don't need to see my ugly mug, you just need to see what I'm scrapping, mostly. Good thing things can be, edited. Okay, so, I got my handy-dandy tray of tools over here. We'll dig out some obvious things. We're going to get our file and magnet, of course, our little Phillips, a little flat, needle nose, side snips, very important, small side snips. We got a hammer, a punch, a chisel. What else? I have my obvious one. The bigger one of these, a gripperator. The ever important granny glasses, okay? And I've got a lot of other tools here too, but number 2 Phillips, which, okay, and I've got a drill and I've got a Dremel, and I'm not cutting this for my Dremel, so in case we need that. Let's get started. Only 2.5 minutes into the video. Okay, well, let's see what we got inside here. First, we check for batteries. There's no batteries, okay? Quite often underneath these, and you can see right here from this, quite underneath these plugs, quite often is where you'll see hiding are screws. So they're legs, but they also hide the screws. Shout out to my colleague, I won't say his first name, but he knows who he is, for supplying this item for me. It's not one that I've done before. That's just plastic, so that's gone. No way to recycle the plastic, at least not at this point. Let's do a little bit of, these are probably that's too big, so let's go with the smaller one. Alright, we'll do this. If I get tired of it, I've got the drill and I've got the little bits. We'll see. I may be impatient and just go straight to the drill. I saved the fastener. Oh, I just ruined my joke. Maybe I can cut that out. I saved the fasteners because they're fascinating. You know I have to make that joke at least once per video, right? My goodness, look at how long these screws are. Yeah, okay. So. Kinda wish the bit would stay in there. Line up. That was stripped. It's all about angle, right? They say. Talking about scrapping, of course. Well. All right. Got the plastic cover off, so that's just nothing. Inside here should be a pump, maybe transformer, maybe just one of the two. How else is this held in? There's these little side clips. You can just kind of break those. I like a hobby where you don't have to worry about breaking stuff. That's kind of the point. Okay. That's gonzo. Alright, and that's all plastic, so that's all gonzo. Sometimes it's not so much about harvesting the metal as it is getting rid of everything that isn't metal, and what you're left with is what you're left with. Okay. We'll just snip away at those. My goodness. I was sick there for a little while. Doing better now. Nothing serious, just stuff that puts you down for a while. Went and see the doctor. He said, well, you either had bronchitis or pneumonia, but you're on the mend, so that was good. So taking a few medications to help with those issues. Come on now, work with me. So the other day I was scrapping a transformer from a light. You know, like the ones with the black tar in it and such. And I learned that you can check the markings on there to figure out the year and such. And the reason you want to do that is so that you know whether or not there's potentially PCBs in there, because you don't want to be dealing with it. If it's, I mean, it's not going to instantly kill you. It might take a while, but my point being, you don't want to be scrapping something that's got PCBs in it. And so, and I checked it, and mine was fine. Mine was made a few years after they stopped using them. Oh, it's all plastic. That leaves us with this. We'll get to the exciting part in a bit. I'm going to cut the wires here. And yeah, I was able to get some copper out of it, but it was pretty nasty copper, because it's all covered with this and that. So, I mean, it's not really dangerous stuff, but what a mess. So today I'm in my nice house that's got some air conditioning units, portable air conditioners in it, and I would be in the garage, but this little motor, what I do with the little motors is I save them up and I give them to a scouting troop that uses it between the scouts and the beavers. They may use them for projects. And I mean, they have to kind of figure it out for themselves if they're any good or useful, but they were interested in them, so I said, yeah, sure, you bet, I'll give them to you. I could sell them and get about 5 cents a piece, or I could give them to a scout troop, and some child's going to get more than 5 cents of enjoyment out of it. So it seems like a no-brainer. This part here has probably got brass, but it's, you know, one of these deals where you have to break away to get it. And we're going to be doing a fair bit of micro scrapping. Micro scrapping is not for everybody. Scrapping, some people just basic scrap, some people micro scrap. If you're going to do it for in an economically viable way, you're probably not going to micro scrap very much, except where the return is going to be really big. Okay, let's take out our magnet here. You'll only thing was this, and that's not sticking very much, so I have a feeling it's nickel-plated brass, but let's find out. So I use the magnet, then I do the scratch test, and I take a look at what's underneath it. And it's not revealing itself to me real well right now. Yeah, that's brass. Okay. Kind of figured it would be, but I thought I'd double check. Because it could also be stainless steel, right? Stainless steel won't react to your magnet sometimes. Depends on the stainless steel. This thing here's got little tabbies. Let's see if I can pull those out. You hear the kids in the background having a, well, it's right now for them, every day is Saturday, but you know. And I'm not going to go on the ground to retrieve that just yet. I'll do all my retrieval later, I think. Okay, so we're left with this very small transformer type of deal. It's got a little tiny bit of copper in there, I'm sure. Alright, I see the object of my desires. I brought that out earlier. Nope, not the lighter. There we go. All right. We've got dog in the background. I don't know if I introduced you guys last video, but we have a new dog in the house. Not really new anymore, just the fact that I haven't done videos for a long time. Skittles. Skittles is a cotton detouler, which is a lovely fluffy animal. And he's a wonderful dog, although he had extensive dental issues when we got him, so we've taken care of those now. And yeah, he's a purebred, and because of the dental issues, we're not going to breed him or anything like that, because I don't think that would be a good idea. All right. Okay. Nice little piece of copper. It's actually pretty good. I'm surprised there's that much in there. There might be 5 cents worth of copper. There's probably a little more than that, but not sure what this is. Let's take a look. See if I can figure out what that is. 3.5 volt. That's either a capacitor or even some kind of a battery. But I think she's just going in the shred, so there we go. Now there's a little deal here, and I'm not sure what that is, if that's maybe an IC of some sort. But it's part of what this process of discovery is all about, isn't it? Let's use this. Okay. Yeah, it was just a cover to a very small, I think this is stainless steel. I'll be able to tell once I run it over. It is not stainless steel, that's why you check. Granny glass, you can double check that, but it looks like it's brass. Surprise! Yeah, that's brass, okay. Well, that's why you check, right? These screens, you know, I always think they should be worth something, but they're really not. I could just leave this on here, actually. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. I took the one plastic part off. There's some very, very tiny contacts here. How much do you want to microscrap? That is up to you, right? That one just went flying. This is what I mean. And I'll see if I can. Now, is this worth collecting? I mean, There it is. Like, that's extremely small. So, you know, I don't think these ones are even worth collecting. There is a tiny IC on there, and if I can easily pull it off, I'll take it and put it in my IC pile. But if it's like glued to the board, there we go. And I bring these little boards, I bring all the electronic boards to the local eco station, and they get recycled there. I do tend to pull a lot of the goodies off, or at least what I think are goodies. First item scrapped, other than the last exciting part. So let's deal with that. And this is kind of the more interesting part. We've got another electric motor here. So we had one motor for the pump, that's this I think, and then the other motor, or did we have another motor? No, this is the motor, right? So let's take these off. They are very stubborn. Oh. Are they? Granny glasses back on. Are those Phillips or are those five-sided? No, it's Phillips. Yeah, these are pretty hard. You'd have to... Sometimes you just can't get it with the drill. Sometimes you just gotta hunker down and do her manually. We're talking scrapping. Okay. This is a PG, channel. I try to not make it any worse than PG-13, but PG. Okay. So I've been playing a strategy game on a computer called The Bazaar. I haven't been given an endorsement or anything. I just like turn-based strategy games, and it's a good one, and it's tough. They made it so that it's not just how many games you play, that sooner or later you move up, but you actually have to put together consecutive good games in order to get anywhere. And kudos for them, because it was easy to get to legendary if you just played enough games. That's the thing you're drawing for, is to get to legendary. Well, I've made it to diamond, which is the level before it, and there's 5 tiers in each level type, I guess. And anyway, I'm at tier 4, which means I've managed to finally crawl 1 level out. But that's it. Let's try this again. I'm disappointed that this thing is not working better now. There we go. Spoke too soon. This drill is not smelling so good. And that's the only one I have that's impact. So, So the other one came out really easily, and then this one, I don't know what the problem is. But we may have to convince it. Alright, that worked. Alright. So we still have the screw attached, and I don't think that's a big deal. So there's our motor. That's going to Scouts. Okay. And that's going into that. Okay, so first item complete. We've got out of it 10 cents of copper, a couple pennies of wire, and maybe a penny of steel, and a couple tiny little pieces of brass. Might add up to a penny. So, you know, I mean, that's nature scrapping, right? So if I got 25 cents out of this thing, that's probably about all I got out of it. Okay, next item. What are we going to do next? Let's do this. Let's see if we can get the... I don't know how good this drill bit is. Man, oh man, oh man. Let's try this one. Much better. Okay, and this one, I'm telling you, the screws and this little metal clasp, that's probably the value out of this thing, right? We might find maybe a gold pin or two, so that would be cool. So I have my jar of gold pinnage type stuff. And might make a novelty. I do a little bit of melting and pouring, if some of you might remember. And I might make a novelty bar that's, you know, says this bar contains approximately 1/4% gold, theoretically, which might mean that it contains, you know, like I've got a couple 100 grams of it, so like half a gram of gold, you know, that's probably what it has. Nothing you're going to get rich off of for sure. It's more the idea that you have something that has a gold content. Now, let's see here. I'm not sure. That does have wire, and I'm not sure if I can count that as with my wire, but I think so. Let's put it with the wire, see if anybody complains. Alright, this is the little part here that I think is the most interesting part. It's got some gold pins in it, I think. Check that. That doesn't... And that is brass. So we'll salvage the brass out of that. And then, what's the best approach for this? Let's just crunch around it, I think. I've got about, I don't know how many pairs of side snips, and there's different styles and sizes, and I've really come to appreciate the whole philosophy behind using sort of the right tool for the job. Not saying I always get it right, but I appreciate the concept, okay? Is that using the right tool can save you a lot of time, and frankly, you get injured less. And anybody who's followed me knows I'm a bare hand scrapper, and that's lovely and all except for the part where your hands get chewed up. And so, you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again, don't do as I do. Do as I say, and you probably should wear gloves while you're doing this. And sometimes I do. There are definitely times I do. I own them. I definitely have some. Well, I wonder if I can push this through. Let's give it a little tap. Now all I've done is wreck it. So that didn't work. I've got an awl here. That was a little more successful, but after having mangled and mashed the thing, I think I screwed it up. But anyway, there. This I imagine is brass as well. I'm almost positive. It feels like brass, nickel-plated brass. Yeah, it's for sure brass. Okay, so these little pins, that's kind of the prize, if you ask me. It's a very small prize. The temptation is to use this on them, but you have to be careful because you don't want to break them. Except there is a little bit of solder on the back here. And now if you just carefully pull it. Nope, that ain't happening. Okay, well. Just kind of trying to crunch the plastic in between. There we go. So there we go. We got our pin. Put that in our pin pile. And what I've done in front of me is I've separated the materials into various piles. Sometimes I'll just put it all in a big pile and I'll sort it out later. And shout out to Patrick Williams. I think that's kind of what his deal is. He puts it all in a pile and then he sorts it out later. And there's definitely reasons to do that. You know, you can sort it out now, you can sort it out later. And you know what? There's more than one right way to do things in scrapping. And there are also a whole lot of wrong ways, but meh. Okay, that other pin's gonna have to wait till I do a floor sweep. Literally. Alright. Alright, so we got these. These are typically just ferrous metal. So it goes into the, they call it tin shred. Just for anybody who, people will call it tin shred, it doesn't mean it's tin. Very little of it is tin. Okay? It's just that's what it's called. And it took me a little while to wrap my head around why you would knowingly call it something that it's not, but it's like anything else. It's absolutely a misnomer. But, you know, what are you going to do? Yeah, those are definitely. Okay. And then this side here, we'll pull those out. I wonder if I can get that a little bit differently. If I go like this. Yeah. That's what I meant to do the first time. Much better. Okay. A little out of practice, guys. A little out of practice. Wires. And more wires. Okay. The legs leading here, it seems to me they're non-ferrous. I'm going to say they're probably brass. Oh, they are ferrous. Well, shows you why sometimes you just check, right? I would have lost that bet. Okay. Just to be a nice guy, I can take this part off. This little foam piece. Nothing really big here. I got a couple of very small ICs. We'll see. They should be easy to take off. Let me just score them with my X-Acto knife. There's another IC, but it is a very flat pack and very tiny, and I'm not going to be bothered with that. I do micro scrap, but like every other micro scrapper, I have my limits as to what I will do. Okay. Then there's a little switch here. I could take that off. Be a tiny bit of brass and copper in there. Brass and or copper. And possibly even a pin or two, but it didn't really have very much in it. But let's take it out there anyway. Not every pin on an electronic device is going to be a gold pin. They many times they're not. I don't suspect these are gold plated. I suspect those are just brass. And I don't know what to tell you in terms of how to tell. After a while you just start to know. Test it and figure it out as much as you can. Take a guess. You know. Not everybody can have an x-ray. Oh, why am I even doing that? Little board, then she's gone. Now, let's move to this one. I think these little power supply things are much more interesting. They have got more stuff to harvest out of here. You're going to get some copper and brass out of these. A little bit of aluminum too, some heat sinks. And you never know exactly what the configuration is till you bust it open, so there is that aspect to it as well. So let's bust this puppy open, see what's inside. Hey, you, get off of get off of my cloud. Okay, so this isn't usually this difficult. Usually this cooperates and pops right off. This time, not so much. Give a little twist. It's not really working that much. I don't suppose, you know, it's stickers, right? They hide screws. Let's see if we can get this sticker off. Let me see. Sometimes you can feel them. And I don't feel any. What have they done with this one? It's an IBM, so it's maybe a little bit fancier, smashier. There. That just means hit it with the hammer harder. Thank you, Lyric, for the idea. Alright. Garbage. Nice. Is it copper, though? Is it all copper? Is it just copper covered something? Let's find out. If that's pure copper, that is nice. So let's take a look. Oh, it's soldered right onto the board. I'd be more surprised if it wasn't. Okay. Work with me. More garbage. Okay, well, it's the moment of truth. Is this copper? And I'm telling you, it's pretty bendy, so I like bendy. That means there's a good chance it's pure copper. And it sure is. Right there, guys. Woot! How much does that sucker weigh? Let's find out. I bet you that weighs 20 grams. That's like 20 cents of copper right there. I'm over optimistic. I think it's more like 10. 23.45. Let's call it 25 cents of copper right there. It's roughly, copper roughly a penny a gram. Okay, the prices go up and down. And I'm talking Canadian for my American friends out there. And I don't want to get too political, but I have to say something about this. Trump is trying to tariff the smoke from the wildfires coming from Canada going to the US. I mean, you can't make the stuff up. Look it up. So anyway, this is what I like about these things. And this one's a high quality one. It's an IBM one. You've got copper here. You've got copper here. You got copper here. You've got copper here. You've got aluminum heat sinks. Yeah, you've got some wire. You got a little bit of brass. You know, I mean, this is a really good one. Okay, there's a little clip here and here. See if we can get rid of those things. Not sure of the size of the tool I need for that. Let's see. Okay, there's MOSFETs in here too. And if you don't know what MOSFETs are, they're basically like a transistor sort of a deal, and they got copper on them. And so now it's always a question if they're as my mentor says, like if they're partially covered with plastic, it doesn't take a lot to get the plastic off. If they're completely covered with plastic, now you have a decision to make. How much are you willing to play with it? I think, yeah, that's not anything serious. So, you know, how much time are you willing to invest in it to get it off? What's it worth to you? Is the enjoyment factor sufficient for you to say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that? And the only right answer is what's the right answer for you, right? That's the only right answer. All right, so we'll take this off. And I don't know my aluminums very well in terms of how they categorize. I'm gonna say this is sheet aluminum. If I'm wrong, any of you scrappers out there, correct me if you think this is a different type of aluminum. But I'm just gonna call it sheet aluminum. And my scrapyard doesn't care. I bring in aluminum. They give me the lowest rate because I don't have enough of anything sexy. That's my first piece of aluminum today. Mind you, we haven't been scrapping for very long, really. All right, these little things, take those off sometimes. That's just, and then this. Now, the aluminum, the brass, the copper, if it's in a small enough format, or I can get it to be such, that I will typically melt it and make ingots instead, for a number of reasons. But first of all, fun factor. Melting is, I mean, I like scrapping, and you got to scrap in order to be able to melt, and that's awesome. That's great. I like scrapping, so that's great. However, once you're set up, fun factor, melting is the fun factor. You get these incredible ingots out of it, and it's just, they're so satisfying. So after you'd you manage to claw your way to 300 or 400 grams of copper, just enough to do a melt, and you're like, just took forever to get this, and then you get that copper bar out of it, and you look at it and you go, oh yeah, that was worth it. Okay, well, let's get all the goodies off of here. We can snip some wires. Let's do that. Okay, I need my magnet. I'm too old to be doing this. Okay. Pushing 60, guys. Pushing 60. There we go. That's over there. And then that's over there. My dad retired at 60. I'm glad he was able to afford to do that, and that's great that he did that. He had, for the most part, he had 26 years left, of which 17 of them were good years. And I don't think a 17-year good retirement sounds too bad. I'd love to have that. I probably won't get that, but that's not, I'm not really complaining. All I'm saying is I'm so glad that he had that. This thing here looks like it's got gold legs, but I'm not sure. But in any case, I might treat that a bit like a MOSFET. I believe it has copper in it. This might be a relay or might not be a relay. There's things that look like relays that aren't. And that's not a good sign when you see that plastic in the bottom. You can just go ahead and cut it and see if it just has this stuff inside, then you know, meh, it's not what you were hoping it was. Some people put that in shred. I'm not sure if that's kosher or not, but I don't think anybody's going to. Shred is, you know, let's face it, with tin shred, the hope of the yard that's taking the shred is that somewhere's in there somewhere is some metal. I mean, you know, if you're too cheeky with them, they might just say something about it. They're going to be like, come on, guys. You know, it's got to have some metal in it, right? So I try to give shred that's actually reasonable, and it's like, well, why do I owe that to the scrapyard? Not really the point. Why shouldn't I? If I'm able to provide them with cleaner materials, if my scrapyard, think of this, if my scrapyard makes more money, they stay open and I can keep bringing my stuff to them. So I don't mind if they make some money. I don't mind. It's really a partnership. I mean, it's not, but it is. And if they're making good money, that's awesome. If I want to become a scrapyard, I'll set up a scrapyard. I'll put up all my non-existent capital that I have, and I will take that chance and hope that I succeed and possibly fail. They've taken all those risks. A little respect for them. Taking this out just to get at things around it. A little copper, little donut, copper toroid or whatever they call it. We'll deal with that in a minute. Got the blue M&Ms that some people collect, and what they have in them, it depends on who you ask. All I know is people collect them because there's, I think, silver in it. There might be something else in it too, but maybe a touch of palladium or something like that. But I don't know. I'm just saying stuff. I don't really know. Okay. Well, we've got these MOSFETs, and I'll show you how I like to deal with them. Now, my mentor, and he knows who he is. Scrap it all. Has great videos on how to deal with these things, and you can tell it's been a little while since I reviewed the video because I'm having some difficulty with it, but he does it much better. Okay, guys, he does it much better. He peels it right off. Okay, and I'm not doing that today. It's just not happening. So we're gonna do it the other way. And I've heard there's gold bonded wires in here, and I don't know enough about them to do anything with that, but you may want to find that out. This is your piece of copper, that little lump of copper. Okay. And this one too, you can hold it still and peel it off. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch the video myself because I am failing at this miserably. Let's do it like this. There we go. Just like that. Much better. Okay. And This thing sure didn't turn out to have, like, it's got little bits of, we're not even sure what it is. How much is that really worth, hey? I'm just throwing it in the shred. It really, I was hoping there'd be like a plate of copper in there, and it really isn't anything like that, so. Okay. I think in the interest of time, I may wrap this video up fairly soon. Yes, it's been a longer video, but it's been a long time, so you know. So there, I got our copper wire. So put that with the copper wire. We've got these little bits of ferrous material that go into the shred. We've got capacitor here. It's not worth anything, really. If I can, I'll leave it on the board. If it's in the way, I'll take it out. This thing here has got some value to it. A little bit of copper in there. Okay. Alright. Yeah, welcome to my mess. So this has got some copper inside and some ferrous and plastic and a little bit of wire. It's a real schmoz of stuff. And some people not really interested in doing that well. For shiggles. There we go, right? Get that part out. This part is, if you want to know which part of it is ferrous, your magnet will tell you. Okay. The other stuff is plastic. Okay. That goes with the plastic. And I always forget to do this, but for your little plastic stuff, it's good to have like a bowl or something, and then it's easier for cleanup. I always forget to do that, so take it from the guy who forgot to do that. This is a very, I find a very rewarding sound. A little clunky here. And how interested are you in taking these apart? Well, they're a bit of work. Do you want to do the work? Well, that's up to you. You don't have to. Some places you can sell this as an electric motor. Your transformers you can sell as electric motors, and they'll give you electric motor rate, whether that's 25 cents a pound or whatever it is. You have to ask. And if that's worth it for you, then that's worth it for you. Here you're going to get, you know, this one's not terrible, but sometimes it is in terms of how it's covered and how hard it is to get all the strands off and everything. And at some point you go, yeah, not worth it, right? So this one's actually cooperating fairly well, so it's not horrifying, but yeah, it's tedious. But if you're not having fun, then don't do it. If you're trying to make money, then don't do this, because it's not worth your time. There's many other things you could be doing that you would make a lot more money. So you have to decide what you want out of the hobby. Right? All right. All right. I think there's some in there, but that's pretty, I'm not going to bother with that part. All right. Now, what do we have left? Battery's low. Well, we're going to have to wrap things up here. So I'm going to wrap this up right here, actually. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a while. Thank you again to my coworker for providing that breast pump. And letting me explore that. First one I had taken apart. You know, we've kind of gone back to some old times here, just puttering around, taking apart some things. It's a good hobby. It's a fun hobby. You're not going to make a lot of money at it. If you can do it safely and learn how to do it properly, I do recommend looking at doing melting, but make sure you're careful with it and that you follow safety for it. I don't want you to hurt yourself. First time I did it, of course, I burned myself. Anyway, take care. God bless. And Scrap and Lou, over and out.